So, looking at the season as a whole, you can say that there is so much development over what this team has now achieved over the last season. You can say that I think they have grown to a certain level in terms of the impact that they have shown in the league as well as out of the league, because for the first time after a long period of time this team was in the Champions League. So they were dealing with so many teams that would really test the team, but not only that, they actually managed to go to a better position. The Some of the teams would have ended in the round of 16, but they went above that. They went to the quarterfinal. And looking at all the things that they've achieved this season, even though they go out without holding a trophy, there is more of a belief from everyone who is watching the development of this team that it's just a matter of time. Some are saying that until Pep Guardiola is out of this league, the only way this team can actually start to show what they're capable of doing, it's a team of youngsters, a team that has so many players. If they didn't have some of the injuries to some of their key players, they could have done even greater, more things than what they did. I'm here talking about us now. So hello guys, welcome back to another video as we are going to be doing the season review of Arsenal Football Club, as to see how far they've gone and who have the most important players to get them to where they were and exactly what they can do to even keep going further. This is looking forward to what they did last season to where they are and why they still came or they fell short to reaching to the promised land, because I think every Arsenal fan out there, what they expected to see was to see them lift the Premier League title. And this is the second time as well we're looking at what they've done, and they haven't managed to do so. So there are a few things that are still lacking. There is an opportunity for them to keep developing and maybe try to find the best way to get the better of them as a team. So we're going to be talking about them. I'm going to be covering all my thoughts on this and what I feel like they can do to actually be where they need to be as a team, and how this might affect them. But I feel like the manager has a mental resistance to keep going further. So let's get into this video. So this season was a season that so many Arsenal fans believed that even though we failed to do something in the last season, this is the season which we will show that we are capable of doing something even special. Because last season, being on top of the season for a long period of time and not actually managing to reach the promising line because Saliba got injured, the team lost the momentum, the belief, and they've all fell down. How do we rise from that? And I feel like even though people don't really talk about it, what Arsenal have been able to do in this current season shows you a bit of development. They did not bottle the league like they did last season. They went to the final day. They fought to the final day. They crossed the line, but the line was just too short. It was not enough for them to win the league. Because if there was anything that has ever been said in the Premier League, the best way you win the Premier League is to beat the current champions in the last round where it matters the most, to keep showing that you have actually progressed as a team, to keep showing that there is a direction or there is somewhere you are trying to reach as a manager. And with what Chelsea did this season, they were not able to at least reach that level of beating a team, of reaching to the point where we can say, okay, they've achieved what they needed to achieve and they can keep going further. Because drawing with Arsenal, drawing with Manchester City, which I feel like it was the pivotal game which could have given them direction if they were going to win the league or if they were going to even go anywhere far. I felt like that was the game which was very decisive for them. But not only that, because even though drawing with Man City did not really mean that much, as there was still, I think, second at that point, as Liverpool was still on top, going and playing against Aston Villa at their own home ground and losing, I don't know how to even interpret that game. Should I blame it on head loss, or should I blame it on the pressure that they were dealing with the Champions League? Because if there was any other game you're gonna win, if you wanna win the league, making sure that at the home ground you don't drop pivotal points against any team was one of the most important things that a team can ever do in this Premier League title race, especially dealing with this Manchester City team, who, by the way, are resilient. They know how to get the job done, especially the second round of the season. Because as I look at what they did playing this Arsenal team, they played so well, but because they did not finish. They did not win those two games, the City game as well as the Aston Villa game. They just find themselves finishing with less points than they should have done in the second round. Because look at this, they had the same amount of points, even though they were the better of the team in the first half against Manchester City. But in the second half, they dropped so many points, and dropping so many points is what put them lower than they should have been, because Man City finished with 51 points in the second half, while Arsenal finished with 49 points. And looking at the first half, where they had 40 points and Man City had 40 points, imagine if they had finished maybe at 42 points, the same as Liverpool. Where would they in the first half? Where would they been in the second half? Because if we're being honest, Man City were not really the same team as they were in the first half. So I felt like, being in the season which they ran so well, in fact, in the second half, I don't think there's a team that did so well in terms of the way they played than Arsenal, scoring goals, 44 goals. Some teams were beating by 6 goals to nil. It was that team that was unstoppable, beating the likes of West Ham, beating so many players. I actually feel like they dropped so many points in the first half than they did in the second half, because they were just unstoppable. They beat teams all throughout the year. They only lost to Aston Villa. They only drawn to Man City in the second half. But the rest of the games that they played, they won. And that shows you the difference in terms of how far they went in, how far they developed and tried to get something. And somehow, when you come and put all this together, they still fell through to at least go to a level which could have got them to win the league. How do they learn from this? My question is, I feel like if the manager is able to keep this team together, if he's able to get maybe a few signings, especially in the central areas where I felt like they were lacking, especially in the first half of the season, they could, or this could help them to actually go far, to actually reach even a higher level, because this is a good team. This is a team that needs belief. This is a team that needs a manager or the owners to trust on them and try to, by almost, to go far. This is a team that needs to find a way to keep putting competition in certain areas. I feel like Saka needs to have competition to keep pushing him to that level where he can keep going forward. Because if there's not that rotation, I feel like you could still be the Saka you want him to be, but not really getting the best out of the Saka we are seeing. Because we could see him that he was, at some points of the season, he was just there but not doing enough as a player. After the maybe after the Dubai trip, that's when we started seeing Saka actually performing. This is a player that I can tell you has a potential to go far. This is a player that I can tell you can even do more than what we saw from him this season. And I'm just believing in my own eyes or in my own mind that if this are able to be changed, if there's so much that can be done, this could actually be a better team than it was. The Rayam Ramsdale conversation which we had in the earlier of the season, in which I felt like it was a wrong decision to do, I feel like it turned out to actually be true, because the reason why Mikel Arteta was looking for Raya, I don't think he was looking for him to be the best goalkeeper in terms of his hands, because he knew that with the Rice and the Saliba and all those people, he had a better defensive strategy to stop anything from coming through. He needed a keeper who can hold the ball and distribute it and set it and allow the team to attack quicker than they were doing last season. And that's what I felt like was the upgrade on Raya, because I still believe Ramsdale is a better goalkeeper than Raya in terms of serves, in terms of what, but he is a confidence goalkeeper. Him not getting enough of the games they played, not being given the confidence to show what he's capable of doing, could have been what dropped his belief system over what he has been able to achieve this season. Imagine if he was given the confidence. Imagine if he was able to get enough. That could have been a different story altogether as a whole. But that's what he needs to improve from. That's what he needs to improve for. He has to be a better goalkeeper, because I feel like if you're shooting from afar, he's a good saver. But imagine in some of the moments, look at the goals he was scored. The easiest goals that a keeper can never be scored. That has to be something that has to be changed, because there are some teams who get the better of these two team players in Saliba and Gabriel. Not most of the times, but they are. When they do that, your goalkeeper should be able to just do the sweeper keeper or do better. But Raya was not there. talking about the Kai Havertz decision. Kai Havertz decision, I thought in the beginning it did not make sense with what the Chelsea fans had to say about the player. I thought that it wasn't making sense. But that's another decision that, Mikel Arteta proved us wrong, because I feel like he wanted to use Kai Havertz in the Bobby Firmino role, where he drops in the midfield to help her to become the fourth man, as well as White dropping in. So it means Arsenal were able to increase so many players in the midfield when they were in trying to win the ball as well as in attack. That was something that I did not see in the season. They had so many players in attack, in Odegaard being the chief creator, having the wingers getting into it, and as well Kai Havertz opening up space, being the extra man in the attack, as well being the extra man in the defense. I did not even see this really, to be honest. But imagine putting a player dropping in the mid while another player is inverting. That means it is 5-4 into the teams that were inverting, or it could be 5-3 to teams that were not using that decision. That made a difference that is higher. That's why we're able to see the better quality of Kai Havertz. He scored some goals in headers, because I feel like the set piece coach is one of the best in Liverpool. So there is a lot of things we have seen which have developed from this team, and there still be so much that can happen in this team. But I can't wait to see how the situation goes, because as you can see, there is still so much that they can achieve. Mikel Arteta is still a young manager. This is still a young team that can develop better to where they are. How do they compete with Man City next season? I'm curious, because Rodri came out really and called them that they were weak mentality-wise, which I felt like is an insult. But how can they prove that they are better than what Rodri was saying? That's the question that we are all going to be looking at this season, looking at what happens next season. Who do they develop? I feel like if Timber was there, this could have been a stronger team than what they were, because they missed that what he's offering, what we saw from him in the preseason. How can he develop from that? It's going to be exciting to see how Mikel Arteta can move this team from where they are to where they could be. Maybe they might even go this winter season without being beaten. It's going to be interesting to see. But I want to know your thoughts in the comment section. What do Arsenal needs to do to improve, to get better over the season than what they did last season? There is a movement, really. There is a sign of improvement. They got to see to the long haul. They reach to the final point with this team. How can they get more out of this team? That's all the questions we are asking you in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And were you impressed with the season as a whole? If you're an Arsenal fan, let me know, because I'm excited to see what you have to say. Thank you very much for watching. This is my season review of Arsenal Football Club. If I feel like there's anything that I left out, maybe in the final season review of all the things, I might add some things as well. But thank you very much for watching. That's been Sam, and I will see you on another video. Click that like button, subscribe to the Connect, the best way you support us. Let's see where this team goes as a whole, because I feel like there's still more to be achieved. See me on the other side. I'm out. Peace. Subscribe to the TFC.